This video is sponsored by you. Links to support the channel are in the description, along with the Discord server. I am really stretching my limits here. I am going even further beyond. I am making 2 positive videos in a row. It honestly kind of makes my stomach churn. Hello there, Arknights' most hated YouTuber here. Once again... There's an important annotation before we begin, even if the average YouTube viewer already skipped to the start of the list and thus won't hear this. It's really difficult to make a top 10 best operators, if not just impossible. I believe there is a very definitive top 3 in this game, but beyond that, it kind of all melts together into generalized tiers. I don't think there is a real way to put one operator strictly above another one with the specificity that a top list would require, so don't take the placements of this top 10 too seriously. All placements from 10 to 4 are more or less interchangeable, and you can very well argue that those operators should be higher or lower. Also, this doesn't cover Siege Alter and Lappland Alter. I am pretty sure they don't belong here anyway, but I didn't really look into them. Outside of that one Ciel video, which is literally that One Piece meme that says, "Maintaining the agenda is our top priority." All it ended up discovering is that an AoE operator performs the best in an AoE-centric stage. And even then, he had to remove Blaze's module because otherwise she would have also beaten it. Number 10. Ling. Ling is the only meta summoner, and with her we can see just what it takes to make a summoner meta viable. The one main issue with the summoner archetype and what ends up making the rest of them worthless, like a pack of pre-poked condoms, is that you need to actively justify deploying a summon instead of a normal operator. That's a very difficult thing to justify. The easiest way to do that is to very simply make the summons better than most operators. For the cost of 36 DP and 2 deployment slots each, Ling can summon up to 3 block 4 Mudrocks that deal AoE arts damage. Ling is the queen of trust farming. She can solo basically every single stage in the game, and that's before you add Surtr/Civilight Eterna to make her summons invincible or other operators to support her. In recent years she kind of fell off, but I feel that's purely because using other operators is easier compared to soloing with Ling, not because it's strictly better. And I get it, she's definitely the easiest summoner to use, but plopping down Mudrock with Typhon is still easier. This doesn't mean Ling got worse over time or anything, she's still as strong as always. Number 9. Mudrock and Penance. Yeah, what about it? I'm putting 2 operators in the same spot. Fuck you, this is my video, I make the rules. Though, this doesn't mean you have to use them together. This is not a combo. They work just fine alone, and they are rated alone. The reasons why I felt the need to put both here is because I genuinely can't argue for either one being better than the other. Both are damn near immortal lane holders that can deal with entire stages on their own with little to no support. It really can't be understated just how bulky they are. Penance gets 7 Gammillion HP, while Mudrock has shields that up and negate damage instances while also healing her. The obvious weakness is that they can't be healed, except by Surtr and Civilight Eterna, which means particularly stat-sticky enemies can kill them if you're not careful. Both have an AoE skill for swarms, and both have a huge burst damage skill, and both are Blemishine's mummies. The difference is in how they operate. Mudrock is immediately good, you put her down on the field and that's it. That's Mudrock. Penance is an operator that needs to snowball. When you put her on the field, she's far weaker than Mudrock, but as the stage progresses, as she racks up more barrier and gets to activate her skill tree, she becomes far stronger than Mudrock. In other words, Mudrock is really good, and is always really good, but this means she'll never reach up to Penance. Meanwhile, said Penance starts out weaker than Mudrock, and then grows to be far stronger through the stage. It really depends on what you need and if you can manage to make Penance snowball. Number 8. Surtr. Can you believe it? It's Surtr. Man, it's weird having Surtr this low on the list, isn't it? She's been regarded as the best operator for so many years, but if you stop and look, by year 5 the others have very much caught up. The main issue with Surtr, beside the fact she has literally the same lore as Quora, is that you can only use her skill once per deployment. Meanwhile, modern units have comparable DPS on much quicker skill rotations. But this isn't to undersell Surtr, she's still incredible, that's why she's on this list. Her damage is absurd, and she's actually immortal. I joked that Ling's summons and Mudrock/Penance are invincible, but Surtr literally is. When she gets her ass beat, she will stay on the field at 1 HP for a handful more seconds, and she can't be killed. Then she will retreat herself. And by the way, for some reason this does count as an actual retreat, meaning you are even refunded some of her DP cost. Number 7. Arturia. I am not calling her Virtuosa. Okay, I know this is contentious. When you think top 10 best operators in Arknights you should build right now, you don't think Arturia. At least most of you don't. And admittedly, Arturia isn't here because of her kit. She's not here because her skills are broken or because she has some insane talent. Though, don't get me wrong, her skills are very good. Arturia is here because of the game around her. Out of everyone on this list, she is proving to be the most future-proofed. It seems like every new event she gets slightly better. In year 5 and 6, Arknights is glazing elemental damage like the Baki narrator with Yujiro. It's widely useful almost all the time, and they even made a whole-ass caster archetype that is reliant on Arturia babysitting them. Elemental damage, as it is right now, is a true damage DOT. That is as broken as it sounds. There is a stat in the game files that determines enemy resistance to elemental damage, but as far as I know, no enemy uses it, which in practice makes it true damage. Number 6. Degen Breaker. She's a little silly witch, look at her go. Not much to say about her. You press a button and she deals 500 of damage. She's above Surtr for a couple of reasons. One, she gets an immortality window as well during her skill. This also makes her immune to statuses like stun and freeze, unlike Surtr. Degen Breaker deals her damage much quicker and has a rather short cooldown, meaning that, as crazy as it sounds, you can kinda spam this. She also gets the Frightened debuff, which makes enemies unable to use basic attacks while blocked. Not the best debuff out there, but still good. You can watch this video for more details. The short of it is that she deals absurd damage on an absurd cooldown in an absurd range and also gets an immortality window. Number 5. Horsecock! He's here for almost the exact same reasons as Degen Breaker. Insane damage on an insane cooldown in an insane range. Really, this is one of the most interchangeable spots in the list. You can put him below Degen Breaker and I could honestly see that. What Mlynar has above Degen is a little bit of utility. Mlynar has increased taunt, meaning enemies will target him first independently of your deployment order. This is extremely useful against enemies with global range, as you can have Mlynar soak up every attack and not worry too much about it. I know it doesn't seem like I am glazing him that much, but seriously, he's on par with Degen Breaker, it's just that I would be repeating myself. Yup, it's logos, it's logos! I feel a lot of people overlook Logos because he's in the same banner as Walter over here. Here's the thing with Logos, he power crept every other caster in the game, like the entire class. No, seriously, he has every caster niche and he does them all wonderfully. He's the best AFK caster with skill 1. He's the best chain / AoE / multi-target caster thanks to talent 1 and skill 3. He's the best elemental caster with the module, yes, even above Nymph. He can slow, he can also boss kill with skill 2, because why not? And if you put Arturia with him, then you just win the game. Do you see what I mean about Arturia? And then, if all that wasn't enough, he has his own unique niche as well. He can massively slow down enemy projectiles and then just Control X's them out of existence. This completely nullifies bosses with global attacks that have a travel time, like Talula's fireballs or Frost's crossbow balls. He's the best at every caster archetype, at the same time. He's genuinely an operator you should M9 and mod 3. Oh my god, we're in the top 3 now. Yato Alter, and also that fuck-ass Texas Alter. Yeah, it's another dual spot. Let's be real, they are functionally the same operator. Texas is the arts Yato, while Yato is the physical Texas, even if she's technically mixed damage. What allows these two to break into the top 3 is that they basically trivialize the entire game. They are by far the most brain-dead operators in Arknights, except for the number 1 slot. They are fast redeploys with damage on par with boss killers. That is broken on the face of it, having such DPS on these ridiculous cycles. But then you add the fact that Texas Alter heals herself and can crowd control, or the fact that they can hit aerial enemies, or the fact that Yato skill 3 deals damage on every tile, meaning that the skill procs upwards of 5 times against big bosses that occupy multiple tiles. Or the fact that Yato is immune to status effects during skill 2 for some f***ing reason, and it becomes obvious why they're here. They're not just phenomenal operators on their own, but also incredible team players and the best panic buttons in the game, since I know a lot of you like your panic buttons. I mean it when I say they trivialize most of Arknights. Though, unlike Mudrock and Penance, you really do benefit from using them both at the same time. I was hoping Crownslayer would make it here too, now that she's finally playable, but she's not looking too good. She's not out yet, she might surprise me, but she's not looking too good, boss. Number 2, it's Ines. It has to be Ines. I just made a video on her, so you can watch that for more details. I'll keep it short here. Ines does everything, and I mean it. Here's a little list of the things she does at the same time when skill 2 is active. She's the best invisibility removal in the game, can be argued to be the best DP generator in the game. Her skill 2 is instant with Bagpipe. She deals very solid damage, she can hit AR enemies, she has guaranteed crowd control that the vast majority of enemies isn't immune to, she's a pseudo fast redeploy, she gains invisibility, so most things can't even f***ing hit her, and finally, she's real fake. Ines would be first place, she's first place in my heart. But unfortunately, the first place operator exists, and I can't really put anyone else there without losing literally all my credibility. Now here's some very quick honorable mentions. Bagpipe and Myrtle, they're here as a little couple. They're here because they don't work like the other operators on this list. They aren't powerhouses on their own. Rather, they are enablers for every other operator, including the 10 on this list. They are much like the sunflower in Plants vs. Zombies. Fundamental, but can you really call it the best plant in the game? Watch these videos for more details, even if this one is extremely outdated by now. Nightingale, does she actually deserve to be in the honorable mentions? You can argue not, but the Nightingale glazing will never stop on this channel. She erases the concept of arts damage from the game and gets 2 mini gravels that take aggro. You can watch this video for more details. And finally, number 1. It's Gummy! Of course it's Gummy, it has to be Gummy. But that's a little unfair, right? It's unfair to compare anybody to Gummy, so let's disqualify her from the list. This means that, as all of you saw coming, Wis'Adel is number 1. There's really nobody else who could realistically be number 1. 3 years ago, with that f***ass video that I talked about before, it was actually a debate. But it's not anymore. Wis'Adel is the best, and that's the end of that discussion. She's not just the best, but there is a sizable gap between her and second place. Not only does she have the single best damage in the game by a huge margin, completely trivializing any and all stages more than Ines and the fast redeploys could ever dream of, not only does she have the AoE range of the f***ing Chapter 10 canon, yes, seriously, not only does she have a massive range of her own by virtue of being a flinger, Not only does she completely ignore the one fucking gimmick of flingers and can hit aerial enemies, not only does she get 3 little turrets that deal damage, not only is her off-skill basic attack damage higher than most operators' skills, not only can she stun for some fucking reason, but she's also immortal! That's right, the other 9 operators in this list are here either because they're immortal or because they deal a ton of damage. Wis'Adel does both. She gains camouflage when there's a turret in the 8 surrounding tiles. This means that almost nothing can actually hit her most of the time. So, you have the best damage in the game by a very wide margin, and she's also almost literally untouchable. I don't think I need to explain this any further. She's silly. That's the best way I can describe it. Genuinely, it's silly. Well, that's all. Is there anybody that I forgot? Is there anyone you would have put in the honorable mentions or in the list itself? Let me know in the comments. I will make sure to not read a single one. Max out your Gummy. Bye. Hello, thank you for watching. There's a new video coming out tomorrow too, can you believe it? Now that Wis'Adel is coming out, you can bet I will be milking it. Thank you for watching, and to the members on screen. In particular, Boopbaobia, Zealot, Quill Damage, Matthew Nemo, Zephyrinix, The Crazy Lord, Nupo, Lord Takio, Nerd Rage! Andre Miula, Mike Reguera, Nuta Koyaki, Jigster, Mimako, Good Old Leon, Maxio Sense, and Cromchan but JJF. Man, this list is getting lengthy, huh? It kinda warms my heart that so many people like me. I'll have to figure out some way to put everyone on the screen.